Yes. Give me a second, guys. Canva is being mean to me.
Hey, Sonia.
Yeah, it keeps asking me for access.
The link I sent you?
Yeah.
Are you opening it with your email?
Yeah, I'm opening it with my Outmail, but it still keeps asking me for access. So I send a request. So maybe you have to give me the request, approve the request. Yeah, I did it last night on my computer and it was fine. This is another computer, so I don't know if.
Send it to one of the other teachers, maybe.
Oh, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Could you send it to
Ada as in Y.
Ada, and then I can open it through her. Like share it with her and she can open it.
And also share it with Alana McGoldrick.
Hold on.
Megan, share it with Ada as in one and Alana McGoldrick.
Okay, so while we figure out the tech, we're gonna go old school. Yes? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you with this stable group, my friend?
Yeah, so join the
So
make
come
sure you
around
have
that you're.
a writing area in front of you. Just don't sit like everybody should have space
1,
in
2, 3,
front of
4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I don't bite, so some of you can come to the front. Why are we all at the back? I would like groups of 5. Groups of 5. So if your group is more than 5, find somewhere else to sit. I know, it's uncomfortable.
Okay, so every group is more than 5, so let's make another group over here. Come on, guys, let's get going. Another group over here. Groups of 5. And then groups of 5. I mean, some people have 10. And let's save time, guys.
Okay, where are you guys
Let's
sitting?
do this
Here?
quickly. Yeah. You guys are more than 5. That means you need to make another group. Some people have to come. One more. Thank you. Yeah. 5, 4, 5. You want to see another group? 5. Okay, we're going to have one group of 6.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, you can join any group now because we're going to have one group of 6. No, you guys are 6. Somebody should join here. Come on. And then as people come in, they'll join.
Yes. Okay, so before we start, just some few things that I would like to go over with you guys. So I have one rule. Where I go everywhere, any place I'm in, whatever I'm doing, I have one rule. And I'm going to wait until you're ready for the rule. So my one rule is respect. I don't add anything to it. I don't take anything from it. But the thing with respect is, if you have absolutely no respect for yourself, it is impossible for you to respect others. So as we're coming together to discuss topics that are challenging, uncomfortable, I would like you to respect yourself first so that you can respect your peers and me and all the adults that will be coming in and out of the room. I feel respect is essential to building an inclusive community, one that is welcoming and reflective of the diversity that is within our country. Yes? So we're going to start off with a little icebreaker, because I don't know any of you. And you know a lot about me already, right? You know where I went to school. You know some of the things I've accomplished in life. But I know absolutely nothing about you. So we're going to start off with you telling me your name, one thing that you absolutely hate that people do to you, and one thing that you absolutely love. And I ask that because while we're engaging today, I don't want to do that thing that you completely hate. Like at my last session, a student said, I completely hate when the teacher goes off topic. And then a student went off topic. So then I had to go back to that student and come back on topic because I want to make sure that that student feels included and reflected in the teaching and learning process. Disclaimer, I don't know everything, okay? So don't think that I know everything. Do you know everything about being a student? Anybody knows everything about being a student? No. It's the same way I don't know everything. No matter how much education I get, there's always more to learn. So I consider myself a lifelong learner. And I feel and believe tables of 5, here's a table of 3. Thank you. So I am open to learn. I do make mistakes. I'm not perfect. Any of you perfect? Any perfect child? No? Okay. So I'm not perfect either. So with that being said, I'd like you to tell me your name, one thing that you completely hate when someone does that to you, and something that you appreciate when they do. I'm going to be the icebreaker and start. One thing that I completely hate is when people make assumptions. Leave your assumptions at the door. I don't like when they make assumptions. Most of the time, their assumptions are wrong about me. I am not a single mom. I don't live like Jane and Finch. So when they make those assumptions, it's taking away from actually my real identity, who I am. So I hate when people make assumptions. And one thing that I absolutely love, as you can tell, because I'm back in school, you can call me a loser. I love learning. I love learning. I could be a lifelong student. And the fun thing about being a lifelong student is the government actually pays you to be a lifelong student. So it's a win-win if anyone wants to follow in my footsteps. Eventually, you're going to have to get a job, though. But for now, I enjoy being a student. Make sense? All right, who wants to start off? Your name, one thing that you hate, and one thing that you love. Don't let me have to point on people. I love that. Leadership skills already. Go, go.
My name is Miriam. I hate when people interrupt each other, and I like respect.
All right, so I love what she said. She said, I hate when people interrupt each other. People tend to do that. When you're speaking, someone else is speaking over you. We're not going to do that today because we are going to respect Miriam's wishes. Yes? Next. Come on. Don't let me point fingers. Yep. Nice and loud, Jamar. I like that tone in your voice.
My name is Jamar, and I hate when my boss says, come to work. Like yesterday, he said you can take like the next day off or something. But you went, like he said you get a bonus or something. He just,
He doesn't follow through. Yes, I hate when people don't follow through too. What's one thing that you love? What's one thing that you love? You have to think about it. It could be food, you know, like I'm a foodie. Okay. All right. It's a source of energy. Okay, next person. Come on, guys. Do I really need to start pointing? All right.
My name is Alan. One thing I hate is that people who are late and because they don't respect time. And one thing that I love is watching anime.
Oh, I love anime too.
No, because Megan has been.
Oh, for the love of God. Okay, keep going. Come on, guys. Okay.
My name is Angela. I hate it when people are like very aggressively unenthusiastic about everything. I just think it's like a downer. Like at least try to be like a little energetic, and I like when I get to rest.
All right, I like to rest too. I wish I could be sleeping, but no, I gotta be working. Yeah, I'm just gonna start going because you guys are taking too long to go.
Okay. My name is Isabel.
Yep.
And I hate when people are fake because
Oh.
because I think my toxic trait is that I
Mm-hmm.
like to find the good in everyone, no matter how bad they are. I guess.
All right, all right, all right. I like it. I don't like fake people either. You know those people, they pretend to be everything that they're not? Just be yourself, man. There's no better version that you can be than yourself.
My name is Chris. I hate when people use terms like OCD to undermine the experience of people with like actual disorders like me with OCD. It's treacherous and agonizing, and I love Garfield and SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob too. I gotta say. Although I'm an adult, I love cartoons.
My name is Kelly, and I hate slow walkers, and I love cats.
Oh. Just talk to her in the meantime for me so she can walk you through it. Yep. I'm an animal lover, but cats not my favorite. They're scratchy. I like dogs. But we can still agree. Yes.
Hate in like a person or like a people. I hate liars.
Oh. Give me some, man. Don't leave me hanging. I hate liars too. Just speak the truth. Somebody's gonna find out anyway.
Also, something I love being a DJ.
Oh, I can't DJ to save my life or sing, but hey, kudos to you.
My name is Owen. I hate when people think they're better than other people,
Mm-hmm.
and I love working with others.
All right. Guys, we're talking, we're not listening. That means we're being disrespectful.
My name is John, and the thing I hate is like someone people judge me for no reason, and the thing I love is people respect me.
All right. Hate judgments, love respect.
My name is Ro, and I hate when people blocks the hallway.
Oh, stop crowding the hallways, guys. He hates that.
And I love I love myself.
You know what? That is the best thing I've heard all day, because we should all love ourselves. If you're not able to love yourself, you're so not able to love anyone else. And that is the truth. Love starts from within, and then it comes out. So you must love yourself. So thank you for reminding us of that.
My name is Joshua. I guess I hate when people tell you to do things, and I love playing instruments.
All right. I can't play any instruments except for my hands, but hey, I love it. I love it.
My name's Arian. I hate when people take advantage of my kindness, and I
Taking
love,
you for granted.
Yeah.
Make sure none of you guys are doing that. He's saying it out loud. So,
And then I love drawing.
All right, all right.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I hate when people tell me what to do, and I love when people give me free food.
Okay. I love free food too. I think everybody loves free food.
My name is Aaron, and I also hate assumptions. And what I love is northern lights.
What do you love is?
Northern lights, like the aurora.
Oh, yes, yes. I've never seen them in person, but they're beautiful when you see it on the internet. Yep.
My name is Matthew. I hate it when people judge a book by its cover, and I love when people treat others the way they want to be treated.
All right, all right. I like that.
My name's Aiden, and I don't like when people are last minute. And
Girls.
One thing I love is my computer.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Chris. I hate lazy people, and I love dogs.
Okay. Not bad, not bad.
My name is Dan. I hate people telling me what to do when I'm already doing it, and I like to sleep. My name is Daniel, and I don't like when people don't have a strong work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And I love fixing things.
Okay.
My name is Sidney Giordano. I love cars.
Okay. And what do you hate?
I got no ideas.
All right. I like that.
Hi, my name is Bruce. I hate it when people say that they're not trying to be rude but continue to be rude anyway. And I like having a positive outlook on everything.
I like that. And we're going to do that today. Have a positive outlook on everything.
Hi, my name is Ivy. I hate when people make up expectation, and I like playing guitar.
All right.
My name is Tatiana, and I hate to take classes, and I like when people take initiative.
All right. I like that.
Gillian, I hate when people touch me.
All right. I'll make sure that I don't touch today.
And I like
Okay.
My name is Melanie. I don't like when people don't listen to me, and I like to be kind of like that.
Okay. And finally, but not least,
Hi, my name is Alana, and I hate sarcastic people, and I like it when people are actually being honest with me.
okay. Okay, so now that I kind of have an idea of what you guys like and what you dislike, we are going to start our first activity. And I want you to think about what comes to mind when words like discrimination, sexism, racism, race, gender, equality, equity. What comes to mind when you think of those words? You can draw it, you can write it, you can define it in your own terms. That's what I want you to work as a group on that paper there. What does race mean to you? What does privilege mean to you? What does gender mean to you? Gender expression, gender identity. What does gender mean? Racism. How would you define it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then, of course, sexism. What does it mean to you guys? How would you conceptualize it? If you could define it, if you could draw a picture of it, what would it look like? I'm giving you guys 5 minutes. Go. Let's see what you know.
So you guys just walked in. Check for your name here.
Is it working?
Yeah, I've got it. I went in through my email. Now I just need to
Okay.
put it up there.
Okay. Yes, technology is coming back on board. Come on, guys, dig in. When you think of gender, what comes to mind? Do you fall with the binary? Male, female? Do you go outside? Is it fluid? Can it change? Is it fixed? What comes to mind when you guys think of gender? And I want all of you to write something, not just one person. Interesting. Okay, what else? Bias, what else? It's okay, I'm not checking for spelling. I just want to see what you have.
Don't worry, miss. We're doing everything fine.
All right. Privilege, what do we think of when we think of privilege? What comes to mind?
You have a definition. And then what else would we write?
You could write words that would represent privileges or people that you think are privileged over others. Maybe male are more privileged in society than female. Why? Right? Things like that you could write. All right, I love it.
allowed to write a full sentence?
Of course. You can write full sentences, you can write words, you can draw a picture of what discrimination could look like. You could make a chart of who's discriminated against the most in your eyes, right? Yes. Yes. Technology is.
That's a problem. And it's, for me, it's like I've had like 3 big days, big productions, and this was supposed to be the easiest one. But you know what? It's only, honestly, the way we're right now, it's only half an hour.
Yeah.
15 minutes of
And they're
response.
already doing
so
one activity already.
catch our breath a little bit.
We're doing good. We're doing good. See where they're at.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a good group. Okay. I'm glad it's up and running.
Thank you. Okay, 2 more minutes. Come on, put things on those papers so I see where you're at.
Yamas?
Can you guys write something too?
These guys are not writing things. I'm trying to write some services. They're serving like a servers. Unlike you, you're trying to do something. You got blue, you got yellow.
What are you hiding there for?
I ain't hiding. I just put my phone down.
So I'm going to tell you something about when you're just observing and you do nothing. What happens is discrimination and racism and sexism continues. So I don't want you to observe. I want you to participate so that we can stop these things that are inequitable.
For that. Bad people thrive.
Why not just try like a certain group of people that get discriminated?
Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, guys. 1.5 minutes. Come on. I love you guys are in it. That's what I want to see. Yes, they do have options. Oh, yes, yes. I love that.
I roasted up.
Native?
Yeah, native people's a race.
Bro, you just took my idea.
All right, 30 seconds. All right, we're going to bring it in. In 3, 2, 1. So we're going to have respect. So we're going to start. So as I walk around and I look at some, Okay, so I'm going to give you a tip as you're going off into university or college or wherever the road leads you. Do not second guess yourself. Be confident in the ability that you're given, that you hold within yourself. When you second guess yourself, you're hindering yourself. You're keeping yourself back from success. Believe that you have the skills that you need to become who you intended to be. All of us have a purpose. But if you keep doubting your purpose, you won't reach your destination. Yes? So never second guess yourself again. All right, we're going to start here. You had sexism. What are some of the things that came to mind when you thought of sexism? Nice and loud. Biases, hey. Men are supposed to go to war, and women are supposed to stay home. A lot of inequities, yes? Anything else you guys want to share before I move to the other tables? Yeah. Racism, what does that look like for you? Stereotypes? Injustice? Oh, I like that. When racism takes form, and when we act on the discourse, which is an idea, then negative things happen to innocent people. So we have to check our biases because they lead to racist and racist acts and racist institutions. And we're going to dive deep into that concept as we continue. Anything else you guys would like to share before I go to the next tables? Yes, the prison industrial complex. Who is predominantly behind bars? If we're going to talk about prison, who is predominantly behind bars? So why? Why do you think? Okay, guys, I'm going to put up another disclaimer. It is not racist to say black. It is not racist to say indigenous. It is not racist to say white. It's the context in which we use those words that becomes racist. So I'm going to ask the question again. One of your peers says, prison complex, right? And I said, who is predominantly behind bars? We don't know? People of color, black and indigenous. And then we ask why. And then we go into things like systemic racism, which we'll unpack later on. Gender, what do you say about gender? Identity, pronouns, love, inequity, one's right. Right. Interchangeable. So are you telling me that gender is a fluid concept? It changes and evolves over time. Privilege. I love this word.
Privilege is being able to do something that others cannot. So privilege is power. Privilege comes from love, sexuality, gender, race, and so
Oh, I love this already. I love this. I love this. I love where we're going. And that leads me right into grace. Remember what I said about just sitting and doing nothing? If we don't act, we don't make change. So use that voice that you got. Okay, I like it. So when we think of all these terminologies, and we think of how we use them, we live them, at times we are them, how do we then change the way we think and create a society that is inclusive, welcoming, and equitable? I don't use the word equality because equality does not bring about change. In fact, equality maintains racism, sexism, and all the other isms in society. Equity, on the other hand, brings about change because I'm looking beyond and looking at what you actually need and supplying that need. So as an educator, if everyone here needed 2 apples to succeed, and most of you came with 1 apple, and a person came with none, then I will give that person 2 apples, and the rest of you will get 1. That is equity, not equality. According to what you need, that is what I will give you. Make sense? All right, let's dive into this presentation. Okay, so as I said before we started, we're going to start with respect, because respect for me is the most important thing that anyone can give me, because love comes from respect. And I know that you girls, you know what, let me stop. Assume. Gender pronouns. We don't know what gender pronouns are. She, her, your gender pronouns, so that I don't assume, so that I don't exclude anyone that might not be in the binary of male, female. So when you're speaking, just say your gender pronouns so that I know. Yes? All right. So we're going to behave appropriately. That means if we're talking, stop talking while someone else is talking. That's not respectful. And you're going to ask questions. You can stop me to ask questions. You don't necessarily have to wait until the end to ask questions. I love an interactive audience. I don't like to just lecture. So please feel free to ask, question, pry. You already know about me. And you guys did the land acknowledgement. But I want to bring something to the forefront as I notice how you did the land acknowledgement. When you're acknowledging the land, you must think of the relationship that you also share with the land. The resources that you get from the land, the benefits that you have by living on this land, and how you came to be on this land, because you weren't all here before. So when you're doing your land acknowledgement and you're standing there and you're listening, think of how you came to enjoy the privileges that you now enjoy on this land. Who did we displace to enjoy those privileges? And how do we continue to displace them by just saying the land acknowledgement but do nothing about it? So whenever I hear the land acknowledgement in schools, I think about that we say it, but we don't do anything about it. We don't talk about it. We just say it because we have to say it. But if you keep on taking from the land, future generations will have nothing. If you don't acknowledge how you came to this land and displace others, changes won't happen. So as you think about the land acknowledgement, what are some things that you can do to maintain the land, to support the land, and in so doing, support the idea, the ideology, or the discourse of what indigenous peoples meant for us when they gave us their land, when they shared it with us? We think of land as profit. We make money from the land. But that's not at all what they intended. Land was not meant to be owned. It was just meant to be shared. So when you do your land acknowledgement, think about these things. How you are benefiting and they're not. And how can you, in fact, impact change? Simple gesture is bringing a stone or some dirt and truly acknowledge that this dirt produces food so that you can be sustained and you don't think twice to throw garbage So while we're acknowledging the land, let it be purposeful and meaningful and not just something we say just because. It's kind of like, I'm not racist. I got a black friend. You're racist. If you just notice that your only black friend is black, you don't say, I'm not racist, I have a white friend. Nobody says that. Action is meaningful. Just speaking. So think about that when you think about the land acknowledgement. You guys already said a prayer. So for today's workshop, we're going to have some courageous conversation. Kind of did our icebreaker. Why are we having this conversation today will be covered. We're going to talk about our implicit biases because we all have them. We're going to talk about social justice and the terminologies, and that's really a core of the workshop, talking about words like discrimination, racism, sexism, gender, right? We're going to have a privilege walk, but we're going to watch the video. Instead of doing the walk, we're going to watch the video because I have not been with you for, say, a month to really build that community where no one feels isolated or excluded. Maybe you don't want to share certain things in your background with others. And by doing that privilege walk, you're opening up yourself to that. But if I was with you for a period of time, then I would definitely do the privilege walk to let you know and understand how privileged you are, all of you. Even to just be in this program is a privilege because your peers are not in it, right? So we're going to watch a video and then we're going to reflect on that video and see how we can truly make positive changes in our society. Then we're going to end off with our human rights and code of conduct and some scenarios of things that might happen to you in the workplace and how would you react. Your reaction could cause you to get a lawsuit, go to jail, or you deal with it the right way, you might get a promotion, right? Our objectives today, so we're going to describe, analyze, and evaluate terminologies and concepts utilized in anti-racist / social justice and allyship work. I say allyship because that word for me is not an action word. Co-conspirator for me is an action word. So a lot of times people say that they're allies, so they go to the workshops, they go to the meetings, but when you're supposed to actually do something that will put you at risk, you're gone. So you're not really an ally, you're just all lies, you're just pretending. An ally is supposed to be active, right? Doing something, not just reading the books. It's nice to be knowledgeable on the topic, but knowledge without doing anything with it is useless. Then we're going to explore human rights and the code of conduct that governs our behavior in a professional or workplace setting. And then we're going to reflect on and apply our learning to our lived realities, privilege by examining the implications of our behavior and beliefs on the lived experiences of diverse groups. And that includes race, class, gender, sexual orientation, etc. within this amazing society. So reach out. If the conversation is truly uncomfortable, speak to me about it. If after we're finished talking and you're still grappling, you're still thinking about, oh man, this didn't make, it doesn't sit well with me, speak to an educator, speak to a caring adult. I know that not all educators are caring adults. So speak to someone that you trust, that you can confide in, that you can express. Speak to your parents about it. I can also leave my email if you want to drop me an email. I am good at responding to emails. I'm not so good at responding from my phone. So email is good. Okay? And there's also the kids help hotline. Okay. So whenever we're having courageous conversation, we tend to be uncomfortable, right? Some people don't want to say the word black. Some people don't want to say the word race. You know, you don't want to hurt somebody's feeling. But learning is an uncomfortable process. If you feel comfortable where you are, that means you're not pushing yourself far enough. You need to be uncomfortable with something to solve it, to dissect it, to make meaning of it. So I want you, as you come here, that's why I start with respect. And my friend over there said, love yourself. Let us ground our conversation in the words of Christ. Greater love has no man than one that will lay down his life for a friend. And if you really think about that, if you love yourself that much, that you will lay down your life for a friend, that means you truly love and respect that person. So we're going to ground our conversation that way to make sure that it's meaningful and purposeful and engaging, and we learn from it. Okay, so we're going to start off with some social justice terms. But before, let's warm up. So I want you to think and then say aloud the words that come to mind when you think of night and, what comes to mind? Come on. Give me a little life, man. I'm going to be with you for a while. So night and? That just don't sound good. I'm going to try again. Night and? A little more, man. Come on. Why you guys seem like you're not morning people? Night and? All right. That sounds a little better. Young and? Boys and? You're going down again. Come on. Ladies and?
No.
Black and? Cats and? No. Oh, you guys are so biased. Every single one of you is so biased. Why do you associate those words? Maybe you saw my slide before. Did you see it? No? So how did you unconsciously, because you didn't think about it, know that you match night with day? Or boys and girls? Or ladies and gentlemen? Oh, they're opposite. And who taught you that? Who taught you opposites? Your kindergarten teacher taught you to be biased. Wow. That's throwing your teacher under the bus. This activity is just to show you that without thinking about something, we make assumptions, we make judgments, we make meanings, we make connections. And as simple as this activity is, it shows that every single one of us, including myself, have deep-rooted biases. We associate certain things with certain people, and it stays that way, and then we act on it. And that's how we maintain racism, discrimination, sexism, act on stereotypes, prejudice, all those things. So think of this little simple warm-up activity that shows us that we all have biases, including me. Okay, so where's the volume? What is happening to the volume, my friends? No volume? Okay, I don't know why the volume is not working, but I'm just going to prep the video in the meantime. So we're going to dive deep into the terminologies, social justice, anti-black racism, anti-racism. So I want to start off with this little video of being in the workplace and some of the things that happens when we're in the workplace, right? So hopefully we have the volume.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open, where's my?
Technology is just not my friend sometimes.
It's one of those, Chromebooks. On, pair, and device.
And I asked that this was done before I came here. Okay, so while we wait for the video to a little louder. There's no speaker? Okay, while we wait for the video to load, there are certain assumptions that we make about people simply based on the color of their skin. So for example, the woman in the video, the assumption is because she's black and she's at a birthday party, she should be able to sing. You know, black people can't sing. So everyone is pressuring her into singing because that's a stereotype, right? All black people can sing, I can't sing, but that's a stereotype that they hold. But think of being placed in that circumstance, in that situation where you don't want to sing, and you may not have the ability or the skills to sing, but because of the color of your skin, you're expected to be something, right? Or think of a situation where simply because of the color of your skin, and I'm going to rally to black, we're supposed to be athletes, right? We're amazing athletes simply because we're black. But there's never association that, oh, because you're black, you're brilliant, right? Because you're black, you're powerful. That association is never made. So think of being outside of this safe place, which is your school, and being in the work environment and have to deal with that every single day. People making assumptions about you that does not fit with your identity, with who you are. So that is what this video is about. And since it is not showing, we're going to move on to the terminologies.
Yeah, Alana's account. What's wrong? It's not pairing to the Bluetooth. Might be the Chromebook. Actually, Mara is here.
And I asked Amelia, I could have brought my own then.
You didn't bring your laptop.
No, because he told me that he would have it.
Yeah, this is, the Chromebook is awful.
But you should be able to use the speakers from
The projector.
projector.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's plugged in, yeah. Yeah, right there, yeah.
Should be on. Did you try it yet?
It wasn't,
at all?
yeah.
Are you on try?
Yeah. It's just not pairing.
No, for the love
I
of
just
God,
like
this is just breaking my
thinking,
life.
but
Where's the speaker? Which one is it trying to pair with?
pile right there. Up there. It's in the wall.
Oh. Oh, that's what.
Okay, guys, okay. Yeah, you can take one, please, because there's another session happening afterwards. Please do not take more than one. Okay?
Yeah, guys, do you want to grab a snack? Just grab a snack. Grab a snack. Grab a snack, guys.
I'm almost prepared. I actually, I took mine out right now, so that it's prepared. This, Chromebooks are nice.
I can't even pair it right now. So it doesn't even let me
Yeah, maybe
cancel.
because this one is trying to pair,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
No,
it's
this is frozen right
It's
now.
frozen.
Yeah, see?
Oh.
Pair works. I get the pen, so I just gotta.
Oh
restart this.
man, I could have brought my laptop.
That's it. Okay, so can you go back to the presentation? Can you go to the screen before?
Yeah.
That's where the video is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah, let's play this.
There, thank God.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Like a good luck charm. See,
Yes, you rub some of that good luck on. All right, guys, so while you're having your snack, we're just going to watch this little part of a video that is dealing with some of the concept that we're going to talk about. And this one is important because you experience this concept every single day. You might not be aware that you're experiencing it, but it happens to you all the time.
Oh, come on, it's Sarah's birthday. Let's see you sing. Anyway, who wants some cake? It's not easy being the minority in any situation. Not in a workplace, as the only blackwood. It can be a very frustrating and stressful environment. Okay, don't say. Now let's get information for this cake. I'm just in the middle of something, but I'll be there in a second. Oh. And that, my friends, is an example of a microaggression. So what is a microaggression? Brief, commonplace, daily verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative prejudicial slights and insults towards any group, particularly culturally marginalized groups. That's right. I've read up on this. It felt so good to be able to label that behavior, to give a name to the underlying stress and discomfort that comes from being confronted by microaggressions. He means well, but that's what makes these aggressions, well, micro. Intent is not the same as impact, and a throwaway comment or joke can have a huge impact on the rest of someone's day.
Okay. So when you think of microaggression and the way that it permeates our interactions with each other, like something as simple as, "You're beautiful for a black girl." What am I saying? What am I implying?
That black girls aren't beautiful.
That black girls aren't beautiful, but she's an exception to the rule. Right? Or, "You're really smart. Are you from Asia?" What am I implying? That Asian people are really smart. But these are forms of microaggression that goes around, we say it, but we don't understand the deep-rooted impact that it's having on the individual that is receiving it. And we have to be aware, because the person that is saying it, it is not their intent to cause harm, but it is causing harm. Another one that I get a lot is, "You're really smart for a black woman." What am I supposed to do in that situation? Any idea? If someone came up to me and said, "You're really smart for a black woman," what am I supposed to do? What would you do?
If you look a white man, you're really smart for
So I should do the same thing that he did to me.
eye for eye makes them look blind, so all people
What else? Any other ideas? Guys, remember about respect when we're speaking? And then, yeah. So you would not address his microaggression. You just appreciate it and move on with your interest. What about you? Recognize that he's verbally assaulted you, but you're just going to let it slide and move on.
It's like a thing
possible in essentially complacent for that
So blame the victim scenario.
This is a situation in which you can speak up about when you think you know about when you speak to the or is this like I report it and because this was a situation that we
But in a situation like that, if you don't name the problem, the person that is being the problem won't realize that it is a problem. And that's how we maintain that progression. We don't name it. In that situation, you must first name the problem. Say what it is that is making you upset, but not in a rude or disrespectful way, right? So I would say to my colleague, that's interesting, but for you to say that I'm smart for a black woman, what you're actually saying is black women are not smart, and I'm the exception to the rule. And then, usually my colleagues are like, oh my God, Sonia, that's not my intent. And it was not their intent. They really want to say, Sonia, you're really smart. But because of the biases of, you know, your cat and your dog association, because of those deep-rooted biases that tells society that blacks are inferior and others are superior, then for my colleague to put me and smart together, the stereotype must also be a part of it. So that's why we have to check our biases. So when you're actually given a compliment, it's just a compliment. You're really smart. I like that. But no underlining bias for a black, for a white, for whatever color that you want to use. Yes? All right. So let's explore these terminologies. Oh, no, no, no. There we go. So let's explore these social justice terms. A lot of times we talk about that we're advocates. We're advocating on behalf of others, or we're advocating for ourselves. And as multi-diverse groups, multi-ethnic groups, because you're not all the same, you should have a voice and use that voice to advocate. So when we talk about advocacy, it is defined as any action that speaks in favor of, defends, or plead on behalf of others. So when you become an ally, you're acting on behalf of the person that you've aligned yourself with. So if it's a racial minority, if it's gender, right? Gender identity, trans, queer, bi, two-spirited, you have to actively do something if you say you're advocating. You can't just come to the book club and read the book and you're my advocate. You're not my advocate. What are you advocating? You're just reading a book. That has nothing to do with my lived reality. You need to actively do something. So we go to ally, a member of a different group who works to end a form of discrimination for a particular individual or designated group. So you're not just reading the book, you're actually doing the work. And the work is uncomfortable. The work is stressful. The work is hard. But think of the person that is living in that body, that is experiencing that discrimination every single day. Their work is even harder. Because most of the time, it is the person that is experiencing the discrimination, the stereotype, that has to educate the person that is causing the harm. So when you are going to be an ally, you need to center the voice of the person that is being oppressed, not your own. Does that make sense? Yes? Thumbs up? Something. All right. When I think of diversity, it is a term used to encompass the acceptance and respect of or for all, regardless of their social identity. So diversity is everything. It is your race, your class, your gender, your disability, your ability, your skills that you possess, where you live. All these things come into play when you're looking at your identity as an individual and what makes us diverse, what makes us unique. And diversity is good. If everything was the same, wouldn't this world be boring? If all of us looked the same, how boring and pathetic it would be. That's why we must embrace diversity. It is a good thing. You learn so much from different cultures, religion, customs, traditions, belief systems. We must embrace what is different. And that leads us to inclusion. It is a practice or policy of providing equal, and I take that word, remember I said I don't like that word, equitable access to opportunities and resources for individuals, specifically those from marginalized groups. And it's not that people from the dominant group don't need access to certain things. It is just that we live in a society that structures, privileges, white norms. So every other group is underprivileged by that. So we have to create ways for society to become inclusive. And that is looking at the individual and seeing their needs, their wants, their skill set, and meeting them where they're at. Does that make sense? Anti-black racism or anti-racism. When I think of racism, I think of Asians, I think of Latinos, I think of indigenous, I think of all the other groups that are categorized under the word race. But when you think of race, you don't think of whiteness at all. When I gave race over there, white was not on the paper because that's okay. We never think of white or people that are white as in a race, but we think of all other groups as racialized. Yes? So, anti-racism is an active and consistent process of change to eliminate individual, institutional, and systemic racism. I can say the educational system is profoundly racist. Does that mean everybody that works in the system is racist too? No. The system is racist because it was built through an history of racist doctrination, residential schools, separate schools, colonization. All those things make the system inheritably racist. So it is going to take time and a lot of active work to change the system. And you have educators who are well-intended that is doing that work. But it also takes students like yourself to also do that work to change the system. Then we talk about biases, because we already know from our activity that we're all biased, and we're going to learn to check our biases at the door. So bias is a particular tendency, feeling, or opinion, especially one that is preconceived and unreasoned. So you don't really think about it, It's in there somewhere in the root of your head, so you just act on it. Right? Like, if you're walking down the street and you see a big black guy and it's dark, usually you clutch your purse and you walk across the road. You don't really think about it because society and the media tells you what about black men? What does the media tells you? That they're aggressive. What else? They don't have? They're fatherless, so they're not trained the right way. What else? They're in prison. What else? They're dangerous. They're criminals, right? So unconsciously, although that's not your intent, it's in your subconscious. So when you see the person, you associate those biases that you have with them and you put it into action and you go across the road because you want to be safe. But if you actually have a conversation with that person, you realize that your biases, they're unreasoned. They're not justified. Not every black person is a criminal. Not every Asian person is good at math. I'm an educator, I know. But we act on those stereotypes, those biases. They inform our judgments. Any questions, concerns, comments? Remember, you're free to stop me at any time. And what I was just talking about is our implicit biases. Those attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding, actions, and decisions in an unconscious manner. So you're not really consciously thinking about it. It's kind of what they call in social psychology your schema. You've learned over time. And your teachers ask you to use your schema when you're reading a book. You know, you infer based on what experience you've had with that subject area, right? So based on what experience you have through the media, school, what your parents tell you, your culture tells you about other cultures, you act upon them, right? For example, we might have hidden or unintentional preferences for a group based on race, sexual orientation, disability. It is an indirect form of prejudice that is rooted in your unconscious mind. So when you're in the workplace, whether you think about it or not, it's there. And the way you treat each other is based on those prejudices, those stereotypes, those biases. Even the way you treat people within your own group is based on that. So in order for you to stop doing that, you have to think before you act. Think before you speak. What are you inferring with your words when you're saying certain things? Who are you hurting? Who are you excluding? We have to think before we speak. And it has to be an active process. And no, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and not be biased. It's a journey. Discrimination, for my friends that had discrimination, is the denial of equal treatment and opportunity to individuals or groups on the basis of social or cultural identity. So based on my cultural or my social identity, I might be discriminated against. Like ITA in the teacher education program at York, and a teacher candidate said, I can't go to Jane and Finch because I don't want those kids to shoot me. What is his bias? Come on. What is that teacher candidate's bias? Why he feels that he cannot go to Jane and Finch. Some students just going to randomly shoot him. Yeah. Yeah. And where would he get that information that Jane and Finch is a dangerous area? From the media, right? And most of the time, it's not even Jane and Finch. or an area near to Jane, but the media perceives it as Jane and Finch. And only negative things are told about Jane and Finch, when it's quite the opposite. There is so much positive things that is happening in Jane and Finch. So much grassroots organizations that are building and creating change in that community. But do you see the media going down there to show you that? Because they want to maintain that inequity in society. So you have to think about what you see on the media. Why is it saying this? And how can you as individual actively create change? There are 3 types of discrimination. It's the overt discrimination, the granting or denying of certain rights to certain groups of individuals. So you're out there, you're like, I'm not letting you in because you're a woman. That's overt. It's in your face. Then there is the unequal treatment, the differential treatment of one group in comparison with another because of certain characteristics. So sometimes you have schools in different areas and one gets a lot of funding because it's a predominantly white school, and one gets less funding because it's a predominantly school of color. And it's in all boards. That's discrimination. And then there's the systemic discrimination. The policies and practices entrenched in established institutions that result in the exclusion or promotion of designated group. So there are certain practices in education, in the workplace, that certain groups are ahead than others. So for example, in a law firm, you'll find that there's predominantly male because they won't give the female the chance because she's going to want to have a family. And having a family means she's taking out time from work, you have to fill in, she might be late for certain things. That is discrimination. So when you're in the workplace, you have to think about these things. How does my identity as female or trans, or queer or straight or cis, or whatever I identify myself as, will impact the treatment that I'm giving based on the policies and the practices of the institution that I'm in? You guys have what? Maybe 5 more months? No, 4 more months before you go out into the real world. These are things that you have to think about. Will I be discriminated against because I'm a woman? Will I be discriminated against because of my sexual orientation? Will I be discriminated against because of the color of my skin? Because of the language I speak? Because I have an accent? Because I'm an immigrant? Or I'm a child of an immigrant? Because of my lower socioeconomic status? Because of my ability or disabilities? Will I be discriminated against? Does the policies of the institution that I'm going to work in foster equity or inequity? Think about these things because it will become a part of your life. And nicely going into equity. See how my words just flow into? Okay. So when we think of equity, it is a condition or state of fair, quote, inclusive and respectful treatment of all people. Example, one's race, ability, disability, etc., must be considered when we're talking about equity. I can't say I'm going to treat you equitably and I'm only looking at you because you have a disability. What about your gender? What about your race? What about your socioeconomic status? All those identities have to come into play for me to really help you. So as an educator, I choose to see all of the student inside of me, or in front of me, not inside of me, right? I choose to see the whole child. Because seeing you in parts does not facilitate your success. So if I only see you as a black male, well, I'm not seeing you at all, because there's so much more to you than just being a black male. If I only see you as Filipinos, then I'm not seeing you at all, because individually there's diversity within the Filipino community, right? If I only see you as Asians or South Asians, I am not fully seeing you. I need to see all of you to be effective in maintaining and creating an equitable path for your success. So when we think of equity, that is what it means. It doesn't mean that I treat all of you the same, because if I do, someone will be left behind. I got to treat you exactly according to your needs, your skill sets, and your ability. Oppression is an abuse of power that is justified by the dominant group's explicit ideology. So the dominant group in Canada is Europeans, white Europeans. So that makes us the minority group. And whatever their idea is about society and the way it's supposed to be, that is what we try to embody. But if you can't embody that identity or that ideology, then you become oppressed. And for people of color, it's kind of hard to be white. One, your skin give it away, dude, you can't. So we have to learn these terms so that we can dissect them and create change, so that everyone has the opportunity through an equitable lens to be successful. Then there's prejudice, the act of prejudging. One of you said, I hate when people judge me, right? This is what they do. An individual or group, it is a set of attitude held consciously or unconsciously, often grounded in stereotypes. So whether or not you're conscious about it or you're unconscious about it, all of us have prejudice. I'll give you an example of my prejudice. If Canada and Jamaica is in a race, I'm sorry, I ain't voting for Canada. I'm prejudiced, I'm Jamaican. So I'm going to vote for Jamaica. However, if Canada and America is in a race, there's no way I'm voting for America. I'm prejudiced. I become Canadian that day. So that's my prejudice. But does that prejudice harm anyone? No. I'm in my house, jumping up and down, Usain Bolt, whoever is running. I'm happy. It's not hurting anyone. No other Canadians know that I sold them out for Jamaica. That's my little secret. But when my prejudice becomes something that I act upon outside that hurts someone else, then it's bad. So nothing is wrong with having biases. Like, I love black. And my daughter says, Mom, you need to get some new clothes. All of your closet is black. Okay. That's my prejudice. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt anyone. I love jerk chicken and rice and peas. That's my prejudice. I'm Jamaican. It doesn't hurt anyone. And you all have prejudice and biases that does not harm anyone. But when your prejudice and your biases are rooted in stereotypes, that is when it harms people, right? So racial prejudice refers to a set of discriminatory or derogatory attitudes based on assumptions deriving from perceptions about race or your skin color. And we talked about some of those assumptions, right? Yep. prejudice in the sense that they're excluding the others, and they're only including those that fit. So it is their exclusion causing harm to the person, other than that person when they're excluded from that. So is it a racial prejudice or is it just we're being That's okay. Well, I know within groups that they're prejudiced. Like within the black community, let's not pretend. We are prejudiced, right? You'll be like, oh, I'm Jamaican, so you're telling the Jamaican person and the Trinidadian person has to be over there and the person from Nigeria is over there, right? There's prejudice within the group. But how are we acting out those prejudice? Are we causing harm to other people? Do we exclude others when they're coming? Sometimes we do. There is prejudice within groups that are wrong. So I like to reference back to the black community because I'm black, right? And it's a safer space to refer to. I don't generalize to other cultural groups because I don't know that much about other cultural groups. Like my research focuses on black females. I study them, right? So yes, you can be prejudiced within your own group. Gender. It's one of my favorite topics. And race. Because we think of gender as fixed, that it cannot change, it's just rigid. But gender is actually a fluid concept. It changes and it evolves with culture. Depending on the culture you're in, your gender identity and your expressions will be different. So when we create boxes and we put people in, you can only be male, you can only be female, what we're doing is we're excluding, we're being prejudiced, we're discriminating, we're doing all of the isms that we said that we weren't going to do. So gender is a social construct governed by how your culture defines masculinity and femininity. Your sex is determined at birth and refers to reproductive organs that you are born with. Sex is unchangeable, whereas gender changes as it evolves. What do I mean when I say sex is unchangeable? What does that mean? How can sex is unchangeable? And she's right, right? When we think of sex as unchangeable, we go straight to biology. And when you're born at birth, that is what determines your sex. But I put it in quote because now you can have surgeries done with the same biology to change one's sex. So is it unchangeable? speak. Remember, I don't do lectures. Is sex then unchangeable? They're two different things. Gender is fluid, it changes over time. No? It's not unchangeable? So sex is fixed, and gender, well, it's fluid. Well, now you have people that has changed their sex. So what would you say to them? Surgery. But now they get hormone drugs that changes that too. So what do you say to them? Well, you can change the internal ability and it becomes useful for diverse things. But you've changed the purpose of the building. You just said that one is for this purpose and one is for that purpose. Do you change the outside of the building or do you change the inside of the building? You can change the inside of the building and it becomes something else. That's okay.
I just wanted to know, because I don't know the answer to this, which is why I'm not sure whether or not it's unchangeable. I'm pretty sure it could be. But are there surgeries of which you, a trans like woman, could end up having?
Not yet. And I'm going to say not yet because we don't know what we do. But right now, there's surgery and medication and all those things that changes a man to a woman and vice versa. What happens inside of their bodies is the way they choose to express. So then maybe it should be sex is evolving. And gender is fluid. Yes? No?
You have a curious question.
Yeah, and then you.
I don't think any harm in this, but what do you think about transgender athletes?
My thoughts on transgender athletes? That we should treat them equitably. According to their strengths, their skill sets, their needs.
Would it not be fair, like, separating transgender women from bracket?
But if you read up on an article that they have this transgender athlete, actually she does not ask to be swimming with females because she knows that her body was not built like theirs. But still inside who she chose to be.
Okay, good.
Right?
But I also just want to say that even defining sex as something like it's only this, it's only that is also harmful for intersex people. Because then it's like people use like shelf to the margins whenever we discuss sex and we don't know how many people are intersex because we don't like bring that up. Like we could deal with the largest population that's just like unknown. I feel like trying to like shoving somebody's sex into like such like strict boundaries is just harmful for people.
And I love that ideology that you brought up, that idea, right? Because there are people that are born with both sexual organs, what do you do with them? They're neither male or female, so what do you do? So then, how can we then say that it's unchangeable? I know. I'm messing with your brains. No, I'm asking you to think outside that box that you've been taught all your life to think in. Because when you think outside of the box, you can be inclusive of others. Gender identity. And I just love this picture. I do. Because it makes you think. When I lectured on gender, there was a big argument in the lecture hall. And I love arguments. They make things become clear. So gender identity is one's own internal sense of self and their gender, whether that is man, woman, neither or both. Unlike gender expression, gender identity is not outwardly visible. So you can't look at someone and say, this is your gender. That's presumptuous of you. You're assuming that you know the person. You don't. Like I was being presumptuous when I said, girls. I was being presumptuous. I don't know their gender. So your gender identity is who you feel like on the inside. And no one has the right to dictate that. Your gender expression, on the other hand, is how a person presents gender outwardly through behavior, clothing, voice, or other perceived characteristics. Society identifies these cues as masculine or feminine, although what is considered masculine or feminine changes over time. Yep. But society is such that who defines what is masculine and feminine, what is gender, and what is sex? Who defines that for us? Do we have a choice in that?
Sports in general are just like because there is someone that's 6'5", and someone's 5'2", and someone that's
Well, sports is a patriarchal, colonial, white capitalist institution. So, as much as you want to change sports, and as much as you want it to be overnight equitable, it won't. It's going to take more. And that is why workshops like these and being educated on these things are important. And not just being educated, but actually putting those things into action. And I have a lot. So we have to really think about how we're structuring our society. Yep. No. It's Billy Porter. I know. If I do this, I can see you guys great, but then when I do this, you're a little bit worried because I need it to be okay. So it's okay. It's not Martin Luther King. It's Billy Porter. And I like it because it's a good image of what gender expression looks like. Right? So right now, how are you expressing your gender? How are you expressing your gender identity? And no one can change that, just you. Okay. Privilege refers to unearned benefits, advantages, or rights for belonging to the perceived norm or natural state of the mainstream or dominant culture. So we gain certain things if we can live within the norm of what is perceived as natural or normal of this capitalist white supremacist society. If you can't fit into that, then those privileges that society affords are not given to you. Does that mean that all Europeans have every single thing to make them succeed? No. It just means that the color of their skin affords them certain privileges. Just like being male affords them privileges, right? If you look at the dominant groups in politics, male. Business, male. World leaders, male. It affords you certain privileges. Being female, you're at a disadvantage. That is why we need equity, not equality. Because at times, you cannot do the same thing that your male counterpart is doing. Because as much as they say, I help out in the home, they gone and you got to take care of the babies, and then you got to do your work, and you got to do all these other things. So equity, not equality. Same pay, yes. Same pay every day. Race is a socially constructed category which is grounded in the idea that physical differences such as skin color, hair texture, or facial features are related to intellectual, moral, or cultural superiority. So just by share of the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, you are inferior. Your intellect is inferior. Does that make sense? Why not? That's what history said that. We were all classified. So why does that not make sense? How can I not just look at you and say, you don't have that skill? I haven't seen them. I don't know you. I will be judging. I'll be acting on stereotypes and biases. And just so you all know, there's no such thing as race unless you're in the 400 or the 100 or the 200 or the 800 or a race car. There's no such thing as race. Biologically, there is only the human race. There's no black race, white race, purple race, pink race, any other color race that you want to race. There is just the human race. Yes, sweetheart. Well, according to history, it really took off during the Enlightenment period, when they tried to classify people based on the color of their skin, and then they use science to say that. So during colonization, when science started evolving, and really the church also played a very significant role in creating race. So that's where our race comes into being. What was before, though, was aspects of slavery. But it wasn't shackled slavery, right? It was where the person would work, and then they get paid, or they become absorbed into one's family. But colonization brought a different kind of slavery, an indentured servitude. And we're in this situation today. So no, there is no such thing as race except for the human race. I can give my heart to someone who is dying, whether they're Asian, white, indigenous, South Asian. We can exchange body parts. So if we can do that, then there's only one race. If we could not, then there would have been different races. But the concept race have implications though. So although we know that it is not real, the impact of that label is profound because it denies certain people's access to the resources that they need to survive, while privileges others to access those same resources. So although race is a social construct, the implication of that word is very harmful. The realities that people of color have to live because of that label is detrimental at times. Racial microaggressions are the everyday slights, indignities, like she said in the video, insults, put-downs, and invalidation that people of color experience in their day-to-day interaction with well-intended individuals who are unaware that they are engaging in an offensive or demeaning form of behavior. So they don't know that they're doing it. Like when they say, "Where are you from?" And you're like, "Jamaica." No. You say Canada. And then they're like, no. Where are you really from? And you're like, Canada. And then they're like, no. Where are your parents from? And you're like, Canada. And they're like, no. Where are your grandparents from? And they won't stop until they've displaced you from Canada completely. That is a form of micro-invalidation. They're not validating that you're a Canadian citizen because you don't fit the norm of what a Canadian citizen is supposed to look like. Have you ever seen the "I am Canadian" Molson Canadian advertisement? A white guy, and he's telling you why he's Canadian, that he don't eat blah blah. Who eat blah blah? It's whale's meat. The Inuit people. He doesn't have an accent. Who have accents? Immigrants. So he's telling you why he's Canadian, while telling us why we're not Canadian. That is a microaggression. And a lot of us watch that commercial that are adults. I'm hoping, because it's a beer commercial. You guys shouldn't be drinking beers, right? And they don't see anything wrong with that commercial. But that commercial is saying, to be Canadian, you must be white and male. Not even white and female, white and male. That is what being Canadian is. So then, who are we? Not Canadian? And why? Right? So think of those systems of injustice and discrimination. All right. So I wanted you guys to do the privilege walk, but then after thinking about it, I decided to watch a video about the privilege walk, right?
We have 20 more minutes before.
For the end of the day?
No, for just this session. We have to end in 20 minutes.
Killing me.
No. Sorry about that.
Okay.
They have to go for lunch.
All right, no problem. No problem. Okay. So I wanted to do the privilege walk with you guys, but we were not able to because I don't really know. And whatever the fallout of it is, I would want to be there to walk you through it. Right? So we're going to watch this quick video, and then we're going to speed through it. Oh, it's not even there. Where is my video? Oh, no, the video is not there. So maybe we have some time. So what the video talked about is a group of people that came from different ethnic background. And by the time the privilege walk was over, it was a black female and another racialized female was at the back of the line, and at the front of the line was a white male. And the questions that were asked was, were you from a single parent household? What did your parents have post-secondary education? Did you ever at any time wanted food, be in need of food, right? Did you at any time have to behave differently because of your identity? So maybe if you go into a store, you might behave differently. I know when my son goes into a store, he takes his hood off, he takes his hands out of his pocket. Why? Why does he do that? Why does he take his hood off and take his hands out of his pocket whenever he goes, especially those convenience stores? Yeah? Don't think he's stealing? Racial profile? Yes, they do, right? They profile you based on the color of your skin. So I train my son to always be aware of that. So whenever he goes into a store, he does that. But other racialized groups might not have to do that because that's not what the media says about, right? So racism refers to a system in which one group of people exercise power over another on the basis of the color of their skin, while sexism is the cultural, institutional, and individual sets of beliefs and practices that privilege men and subordinate women and devalues ways of being that are associated with women. So we are always at the bottom. Stereotyping is a preconceived generalization of a group of people. So we've been talking about stereotypes of the media right throughout from we began. Then social justice is a concept premised on the belief that each individual and group within society is to be given equitable opportunity, fairness, civil liberties, and participation in the social, educational, economic, institutional, and moral freedom and responsibilities valued by society. But that does not happen all the time. And because that doesn't happen all the time, then we have to make sure that it happens. By naming when someone's being racist, naming when someone's being sexist, and not in a confrontational way, but in a way that you're educating that person so that they will become better. But if someone's being racist or sexist and you react out of anger, they're going to become defensive, and then there's no learning moment, there's no teaching moment there. We have to name it, and we have to address it. And then this was supposed to be the video.
We had a group of ethnically diverse college students participate in an activity to show ways in which society privileges some people over others. Take a look.
Guys, make sure you're paying attention. This is important.
35 questions. If your parents work nights and
Do they
weekends
have,
to support
what
your
time do
family,
they have to go to lunch?
take one step back.
So remember you have two different groups.
Yeah.
So the second
If you are able to move through the world without fear of sexual assault,
so these
take
guys
one
have to
step
leave
forward.
at 11:20. Because remember this session was supposed to end
If
at
you can
11,
show
but because
affection
of the
for your
delays we
romantic
had at
partner
Yeah,
in
yeah.
public,
running into
without fear of
but
ridicule
this whole
or
session was
violence,
to end by
take one step
11:20.
forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
After this, I'll just go into the codes and try to wrap up. So maybe we won't be able to do the scenarios with these guys.
No, not with this guys.
Yeah, the second group. Yeah.
The second group. Because
Technology.
If you have ever been diagnosed as having a physical or
And I
mental
could have brought my
illness,
computer because I asked you, like, you guys have the computer.
if you have ever tried to change your speech
Yeah.
or mannerisms to gain credibility,
I'm from a small town in Connecticut, so I've heard like I live in a bubble.
It's okay. They're still learning.
yeah, and they engaged.
Doesn't mean
Yeah,
I can be
yeah.
in front of them.
if you can go anywhere in the country and easily find the kinds of hair products you need that match your skin color, if you were embarrassed about your clothes or house while growing up, if you can legally marry the person you would never think twice about calling the police when trouble occurs, take one step forward.
I'm already a double minority, being African American and also being a homosexual male. I'm always like expecting myself to be further back.
If you can see a doctor whenever you feel the need, if you have ever been the only person of your race, gender, in a classroom or workplace setting.
It felt like those who were in the front were more comfortable. There was one female behind me. It felt like being a woman possibly come with an extra challenge.
If you get time off, if you had a job during your high school and college years, if you have ever felt like there was not adequate or accurate representation of your racial group, sexual orientation group,
I think one of the biggest things that I have counting against me would be just sexuality. It taught me that there's still a long ways that we as a society need to go.
if you have ever been bullied or made fun of based on something you can't change, take one step back.
Looking at the people behind you, it just makes you think about why people don't get the opportunities that I do.
There were more than 50 books in your house growing up. Study the culture or the history of your ancestors in elementary school. If you were ever offered a job because of your association with a friend or a family member, ever laid off or unemployed, not by choice. If you were ever uncomfortable about a joke you overheard related to your race, ethnicity, gender, appearance, or sexual orientation, take one step back. Thank you all for participating today.
I'm very aware of my white privilege, but it really shows through when I look behind me, and most of the people in the very back were people of color. I was in the back. I'm not ever in the back of anything that I do.
Being in the front made me feel uncomfortable. It's not always nice, like you're there and know that like everyone behind you can look at you, right, but you can't look at them.
One for each of you.
I was surprised. I didn't have very much going on, but I've always thought that for other people who had less.
One for each of
I
you.
didn't know I was going to end up in the front. The way I was raised by the border of Mexico, that I would be less privileged, though it's weird to know that I am actually doing good.
I think talking about my privilege and people but in a room full of different people, I think
You guys
it's
need
necessary.
pen?
It's a very sensitive topic.
You
don't
guys
wanna
already
offend
have
anyone,
pen?
but it's true. There are racial and social disparities in America.
Oh, it's
and
your
these
it's a
issues need to be
reflection,
talked
so
about.
you can use a pencil or a pen, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I found that really interesting, and I want to talk
guys
to a
need
few
pen?
of the people that were involved in it. Ryan, you wound up very much in the front, correct? When you looked over your shoulder, what was your reaction?
When I turned around and I saw everyone
Need a pen?
in like everyone behind me, it was like, whoa, it was kind of, it really did prove the point that
If you have a pen already,
Did you
just
then or
so I
now
can give those who
feel
don't.
like you've done
Need a
anything
pen?
wrong?
felt like I had done something wrong, even though I couldn't like it felt like I shouldn't be here.
Randy, stand up if you will. You were in the back,
Guys, you have pen
correct?
already?
Yes.
How'd you feel?
Or pencil, it doesn't
Definitely
matter.
felt like being in
Do
the
you need
back,
a pen?
we got to see everyone else, but those in front of us didn't get to see us.
Wow.
Do you need a pen or a pencil?
Yeah, interesting.
I think I might have run out. Okay. So we've talked about racism, sexism, discrimination, privilege, bias, prejudice, stereotypes, gender expression. And as much as we feel at times that we don't have privilege, all of us in this room have privilege. Just being in your program alone is a privilege. Being able to get an education, being considered female here in this country and having access to education is a privilege. Right? So for me, because we gotta wrap up, I have this question for you. What did you know about privilege and by extension, your own privilege after watching this video? What are you taking away from the activity, from what we've done? So, understanding the impact of racism, sexism, gender stereotypes, biases, prejudice, and understanding that we all hold privileges, and understanding that when we go into the workplace, we have to become allies and advocates for others. What are you taking away from this workshop? And how do you now understand your own privilege? Maybe just by being male or being able to be in this SHSM program. What are some of the opportunities that it provides for you that other students within your own school community don't have access to. Like right now, you're here in this workshop simply because you're a part of that program. So, at least 2 sentences or some bullets, something that you're taking away, something that you have learned, something that you're going to put into action. Maybe you're going to check your biases at the door so that you don't make those assumptions about others anymore. You're going to think about including others in your groups. What are you taking away?
I don't fully know, Miss. I learned a lot of things today.
So then you can write what you learned then.
I know, but Miss, there's a lot of things.
Well,
I
pick
wanna write
2
one.
of them.
Oh, I have to write 2?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be 1.
There's 2 questions. How can you write 1?
I only saw 1.
Think about one thing that you can put into action. I'm big on action. Not just thought, but actually do it. Do you have the certificates for them or?
Yeah, they will get one. Okay. Yeah. They will get one.
Oh man, I wanted the other part to go. Technology is just not my friend today.
So maybe for the second section, if we can shorten the intro part.
Yeah, I won't do no intro.
And
Yeah.
then, no, I will introduce you. I'm just making, like, you know how it took a while we were setting up for them to write on the sheets and
Oh, I did that.
make it faster so that it gives you more time at the end so that you do all of the stuff you planned,
Yeah.
right?
I would need like just 20 more minutes, and then I could have finished everything.
No, but because we want
Yeah,
to bail,
I
right?
know, I
Yeah,
know, I
so.
know.
Yeah. What school board do you work with?
PO
PL Catholic?
District.
District.
PO District School Board.
Are you a teacher there?
Now I supply because I'm full-time at York, and then I lecture at Humber. Yes, I'm going to collect them after.
I know, so, yeah, you're supposed to leave at 11, right?
11:20 to get to lunch, yeah. Because period 2 ends at 11:20.
Oh, it's okay, I was expecting them to go back to their period 2 at 11.
Oh, okay, but
That's
it ran
okay.
over, like.
Not
yeah.
a problem, not a
Yeah.
problem. So you guys are here when the bell goes?
Yeah,
You're
you-
going to lunch and then you go back to, well,
Go
you
back
don't
to period 3.
necessarily- You go to your period 3. If you have period 3A, then go to period 3.
3,
You
yeah.
take your lunch at your regular time,
Yeah.
okay? And you're here. I just sent you a note, come and see me. Because you're missing a core.
So we still have 5 minutes. For the-
Yeah?
We saw 5 minutes.
And now you would have gotten a break.